So, this video has been quite some time coming. I have been waiting to make this video for quite a while, and now I'm finally doing it. So, this is a Mini Cooper. It's a 2003 model, and it's in particular on a Tamiya M-03L chassis, the longer version of the M-03. And this was the actual car that I used to race at Froome Radio Control Car Club around the early to mid 2000s, and we took a step back from it in the end, mainly because all clubs and championship events started using transponders, and at the time we could not afford them, so we ended up bowing out of radio control racing. And I recently did make a return with a Tamiya TT02, but however that I have decided to retire from racing and only just use it for social purposes, mainly because I just haven't been able to get good direction control out of the TT02, and that's even with the upgrades, and it's been a bit difficult to get right. So this I want to restore because there's the Iconic Cup, which I definitely want to race this at, and I might run this at clubs, but that would mean having to replace the 15-ton motor with a 21-ton motor. Speaking of which, actually, so yeah, this is the motor that will be going inside of it as per Iconic Cup rules, which is the Core RC 15-ton canned brushed motor. And funnily enough, this motor, this was the original motor from when I last raced with this thing. So, and does it still work? We'll have to find out. Now, as for the wheels, per Mini rules, let alone Iconic Cup rules, so these are one of the compliant tyres, which are Volantes, and there's different hardnesses to these, which I'm doing this entirely free scripted. So this hardness, which is 36R, which I'll be using for the front of the car, and the 24R hardness, which is much more softer, that I'll be using for the rear. And this is purely following AD's advice from Racecraft RC, so to advise using a harder set of tyres on the front and a softer set on the back. So these I'll definitely be, and I'll also be using those with my M07. That's if it arrives. I'm still waiting for my M07. I did contact Model Sport about it, and even they don't know when it's coming. So anyway, that's interesting. So going back to this, I guess we should make a start. Okay, so let's just take a quick look on the inside of this. I've already popped the clips off. These weren't actually the original ones. These are brand new ones that I put on it recently after digging it out from the shed. So take this body off, which actually, yeah, I've had this body ever since getting this particular chassis, and the other thing about this is when I do start racing with this, I'm not going to be using this one just because of the sentimental value. And yeah, you can probably see, so also got the original BRCA numbers on there still. Back when, they are still used, but that was back when, before transponders were even a thing. You can just about see the inside. There's cobwebs in there, and I won't zoom in on the spider's exoskeleton that remains in there, just in case there's arachnophobics watching. But anyway, that's the body, which I will be putting into retirement. So as you can see, yeah, it needs a good clean. It actually doesn't sound too bad, but I want to hook this thing up to a motor and see if that thing does work. Okay, so got the chassis resting on a case of frog tape and some Milwaukee drill bit set case. Other brands are available. So just going to hook a standard 7.2 volt nickel metal hydride pack to the motor and see what happens. Oh, okay, interesting. That doesn't sound bad, it sounds quite healthy, which is interesting given how long it's been stuck at the bottom of that shed for. Anyway, so I do need to take it apart anyway, just in case the gears might need greasing. I'll put quite a fair bit in there just to be safe. But as you can see, it does need a jolly good clean. And I can't remember which brands of tyres these were. I know that somebody pointed these out and saying they haven't seen these for years. But if anyone does know what these are, let me know in the comments. Anyway, so it needs a really good clean. Let's take this over to the kitchen table and take the thing apart.
By the words that you say, the voice that carries them has kept me astray. Too soon to act on it, can we ever be? That all depends on what you're feeling from me. Let me show you all the way. Let me show you all the ways. Let me show you.
Okay, so I don't think that took me any longer than an hour and a half, which is quite surprising given how long Tamiya kits normally take to build. I started about 4:30 and I wasn't even past the hour mark on Team America World Police, which is my second time watching it, and I've just took the camera away at probably the most appropriate time given what's just come up. But anyway, yeah, these are all the bits from the M-03L, and there's, as you can see, yeah, it did need, don't know where that came from, but there it is, all apart. Also got the bolts, screws and other bits in a little bag to be safe. So, prior to this, I thought I would also point out these friction shocks, I do want to place with oil-filled shocks. The gears, I think that's fine, but this one, I don't know if that's going to focus actually. Oh yeah, it will. You probably just about make out that it's probably on its last legs, and I'm gonna get. Actually, I'm curious to see if there's any metal versions of that, but they're ABS, so it's probably not needed. Something I did want to point out as well was it did seem a bit. The front bit of it seemed a bit warped. I'll show it in a photo here. So that seemed a bit unordinary to me, but when I was comparing photos and videos, it did appear to a similar shape as this was. But the other thing as well I also want to point out that I forgot to mention was this servo. Yeah, this is the original servo that was actually in the car, and this was the servo that I had in it while I raced with it at Free Radio Control Car Club. But I don't plan to put this back in because of the sentimental value. Also, I just want to use metal gears to place it. I think the servo saver might be fine. There was also another thing as well, yeah. So the steering knuckles, because of how long they were spent in a shed, yes, you can see that one of them is quite warped. Yeah. So these I'm not going to be using. I might get some metal ones, which I did check with Iconic Cup Rules, and a lot of people who have competed in that have said that that's fine. But the other thing as well, this motor, which I mentioned previously, I just want to check one thing about this. So I just want to test this motor out again, just to see how healthy this thing is. So if I just hook it up to the NIM battery that I used previously. Ooh! Hey. That actually sounds good. That's not bad for a 20-year-old. Hang on. Let's try that. Flippy floppity all over the place, but Hang on, I'll try. Yeah, so that sounds healthy. It does sound usable, but I probably won't just because, again, sentimental value. And that's the original pinion gear, which still looks sparkly brand new, considering how long it's been sat in the shed for. The other thing I wanted to mention as well, the actual Tamiya M-03L needing a jolly good clean. I think the time-lapse... I held my hands in front of the time-lapse briefly to see if it would capture it, but these were my hands at one point, and I had to wash them off a few times to obviously not get dirt on anything. But yeah, in terms of how I'm going to clean the thing, let me think about that. Okay, so I got the bits and pieces right here, and I'm going to be cleaning them with Muck Off. It's actually my first time ever using this stuff. I'm only using this because my late brother actually really liked this stuff, and also Kevin Talbot has also been using this to clean off some of his cars, so giving it a try for some of this, and also got a glove on just for protection. Anyway, let's give this a go. And also I've got, I also have a jug of moderately warm water just to rinse it off, but let's do this. Okay, first of all I'm going to try it off with this part of the main chassis. Just going to put it in the sink, get the mock off. Are they ready? Have I actually... It's leaking a little bit and getting on my... Is that off or is that... Hang on. Well, this is interesting. Here we go. Better. Probably may have overdone it a little bit. Let's turn that round. Let's read the other side. So I might leave that to sit just for a few seconds. But it does seem to be digging deep into that. Actually, I think that might be all it needs. Let's get the water. Oh wow. Okay, so I didn't think we needed to go through it with a brush because that looks almost brand spanking new. Let's just get the other half just for comparison. So this is before the muck off and this is it after. Amazing. So going to do that bit next, and I'm going to time lapse the rest. I'm going to time lapse the rest so it's not so long of a watch. Okay, so that's all the important bits cleaned, and this stuff has been amazing. Yeah, really amazing. It's actually my first time using that particular product, and I'm really happy with looking at, just amazed at the result. I did have to scrub it a little bit. Could have done a little bit better there. Did have to use a bit of elbow grease, but they're almost just like new. These bits here I didn't bother washing or spraying with the stuff, mainly because I've got some newer upgrades, which I will be ordering soon. But anyway, here is what they were before, and here's a photo of them afterwards. So we have M-03 pieces which look almost new, and I'm going to go on a bit of a break on this video for a few days, but hopefully I'll see you again later on with the upgraded bits in 3, 2, 1. Okay, so not exactly all of them, but here I've got some new gears. Even though the current gears in the M-03 could be perfectly fine, I just decided to get some new ones just in case. Also got my 22 pinion gear for the 15-ton motor. I mean, I could just use the old one, but yeah, again, just to be safe. Got some new bearings. Instead of using the hybrid plastic ones the Tamiya comes with, there is a bit of nylon in between these bearings. Got the differential gears, and also got some hydraulic shocks, or oil-filled shocks as they're better known as, rather than using the friction shocks that the M-03L used previously, and has been like that ever since it came out of the box. So I'll push these aside now, because I'm only going to be doing a partial rebuild with what I've got, because there are some bits like the drive shafts and other bits involving the front end that I'm still waiting on. So I have put all of the bits and pieces in the bag, in a ziploc, just basically to protect it after it dried up, because I wanted it to be safe when it got. So all the screws are in here, and also other bits and pieces as well. Still got the shafts for a couple of the gears. Also got a tub of grease. Yeah, and also a paintbrush, because my dad insisted using a paintbrush rather than cotton buds for greasing these gears. So anyway, with that all being said, let's get on with the... Oh, I forgot one thing. So yeah, I nearly forgot about this. Now, as per Iconic Cup rules, this is the Core RC 15-ton brushed motor, which I'll be putting inside this. I do plan to race this at Iconic Cup, which is Radio Control Vintage Racing. Yeah, so got that, and I'm going to get on with it and start doing the partial assembly. Although I do have the instructions by my side in a PDF on my phone just in case, but I'm going to try and do most of it from memory. So let's go.
I have been taken by the words that you say. The voice that carries them has kept me astray. Too soon to act on it, can we ever be? That all depends on what you're feeling from me. Let me show you all the way. Let me show you all the ways. Oh, let me show you all the ways. Yeah, let me show you all the ways. Oh.
Okay, so I'm stopping for a bit because I need to go and get food, and I'm going out to see Randy Feltface later, so looking forward to that. But this is where I am with the rebuild. So got the 15-ton motor in it. I haven't hooked up to power yet. Put a lot of grease in the gearbox, so it should be fine. Got the rear suspension sorted. Got the hydraulic shocks on the back. Now I did, as you can probably tell, I've made a mistake. I accidentally put those in upside down, and the first I assembled this section, I forgot to put them in, and then I just realised I could easily reach in with a screwdriver just in there. So I took this whole thing apart for no reason. So when I do resume, I'm going to get that overturned, and in terms of what I'm actually going to do next. I'm going to try and work on the front bits. But yeah, it's looking close to new, which is amazing. So with that being said, let's get on to the time lapse of whenever I do resume this. Okay, so this is where I'm at. I've got most of it done. I have put a Metal Gear servo in place of the old nylon geared one that was in there previously. Got the Core RC 15-ton motor in place. Now I haven't fit the servo saver on yet because I haven't got the steering properly sorted. There is a few bits I'm still waiting on, and I just want to make sure it's centralised. And the other parts I haven't put on yet, obviously being the battery brackets, because I haven't put battery in there yet, but also I haven't put on the bumpers, because my understanding is with the Iconic Cup rules is that all bumpers have to be foam, so I need to look into if there is a specific bumper that I need to use, or if I'm fine using, because what I could do is 3D print some brackets for the bumpers out of ABS, then acetone treat them so they'll be a lot more stronger. But anyway, yeah, I think that's just about it for the moment. Other than, there's one thing I want to do. I do have a couple of Volante pre-glued tyres. So these are the 24R version, as AD from Racecraft RC advised that I used at the rear of the car, and advised that I also use 36. So I've got 36R, and I've also got these which are 24R. And I brought these along because I just want to see what they look on the how they look on the car. So I got nylock wheel nuts here. So I've got the wheels, and I'm going to try and do a transition. And I've just dropped one of the nuts. Let's get that back. So let's get them in my hands again. So I'm going to try transition. Let's see if I can actually pull this off. 3, 2, 1. Okay, I have absolutely no idea how that's going to come out post-production, but there they are. We got our Volantes on the back of the M-03L, and absolutely fantastic. So probably raise it up a bit so I don't scratch the table, but yes, there we are. So also very, very grippy. I wonder how long that will be for. Anyway, on that note, something else did arrive. While I'm waiting for the other parts, I thought I'd sort out, if I can get grip on it and put it on the table, this. So I managed to get hold of a Mini Cooper body from the same era as the original body for this M03 did. I was after one for the 2003 Mini Cooper, and here it is. So until then, until I'm waiting for the parts, I'm going to sort this thing out. Alright, so I've got the body prepared for painting. I decided not to do a time lapse of the process because I just feel it would extend the watch time, make it a bit too long of a watch. But anyway, got it all cut out, got the body post holes sorted. In terms of how I'm going to paint this, well, I'm trying to... Actually, hang on a minute, I've got it somewhere. Yeah, so as you've seen earlier, this is the original, and I'm trying to get this to replicate that. So I'm going to have the white roof, might paint a bit of black in case I can't get all of the... Yeah, that's the weird thing about this. This didn't come with decals. It did say that decals were available with it, but I have contacted the seller. Hopefully I can get some on the way at some point. But yes, so this is good. So I'm going to have the white roof and this particular shade of blue onto this as well. But I think the first step I'm going to move on to is the roof. And let's get on with that. Okay, so because it's raining, I'm not going to be spray painting the top of the roof. Instead, I'm going to be using the paint and brush method. So I've got acrylic paints, which I have used on 2 of my previous bodies for the Jackson Pollock method. However, I just want to see how this method would work for just the roof. I am going to, where it's going to be blue, like the main body all over, I am going to spray paint that. But I just want to see, because when I do spray paint, hopefully the spray will mask it. I just want to see. Okay, not too bad. I think I made it a bit thin. Let's just see how it looks on the outside. Okay. Alright, so we're going to do a bit of experimenting with this. Might spread that across. I'm going to stop recording so I can concentrate on this. Okay, so I did put a few coats on there. It is still a bit soft, not hard or anything. So you may be able to see the brush strokes there. However, if I turn it upside down, well, the right way up, technically, you can't really see any brush strokes. And yeah, that looks pretty good. So next plan is to just leave this just a little bit. Might take, well, it is, I'm going to take the masking tape off, but the process is going to be a bit slow, so I'll have to cut the camera for this one. Alright, so I've got the masking tape off, and as you may be able to see from the edges, not exactly the cleanest job in the world, but it did the trick. It worked. I'm gonna leave this dry just for a little bit before I move on to the next step. Okay, so until I can get some paint for the rest of the body, I'm going to be moving on to the next step, and that is the steering at the front here. So, with the steering knuckles, I was going to use these metal ones, and they are the right fit. They're the same width, which is 25mm, and it is a perfect fit. However, I can't get any bearings in this at the moment, so I'm going to put these on hold for now. So, because I tried fitting these bearings in, and I think these are probably, that's an imperial hole, and these are probably metric bearings, or either that or it's the other way around, you know, vice versa and that. So I'm going to try and find a bearing I can put into that hole. So I'm going to push these aside for now. So I'm going to use, so the plastic ones, so one of them was originally on the M07, no, not the M07, this is the M-03L, the M07 is here, which actually arrived in between filming this, and I actually managed to finish it in between. So I took a step from the M-03L to work on the M07. So hopefully I'm going to start racing with this thing. And if you didn't see the build diary, yeah, that was available to watch on the channel. So anyway, this was one of the ones that were on the car when I dug it out of the shed. And as you can see, it's spent from being stuck in a hot shed. So so it turns out there was a spare one the whole time, and yep. So these are only going to be temporary until I can get the metal ones sorted out properly. So I got metal joint cups, which are the smaller versions, and so they are the same size as the original ones, but just with the different shaft on the ends compared to the wheel. So I've got all metal bearings here. Now these are the original drive shafts. I actually left these soaking in muck off overnight, and they look almost brand new. So I thought, while these are still perfectly good, I thought I'd use them. And I might look into alternative, because finding some cost-effective or inexpensive drive shafts have been very difficult, but anyway, hey ho. So I've got grease, got the remaining of the Volante. So we've got the soft, probably mentioned this previously earlier in the video, but got a soft, got 24R on the rear and 36R, which is what these ones are going to be going on the front here. And I have done the same with the M07 over there. So the ESC, because it's going to be a 15-ton motor, probably going to be using more power and probably could potentially lead to more current and more power usage. I decided to play it safe and use the 80 amp version rather than the 60 amp version of the Hobbywing Quick Run, which is what I decided to put in the M07. And there is already an XT60 connector on this, which is handy, but no motor connectors. So I've got these, which I've left spare from a ESC that died out, and I've got some heat shrink solder tubes, which I have used previously in multiple different projects, and they've been working really well for me. Also got thread locker here for anything that's threaded, literally. So anyway, let's get on with this.
By the words that you say, the voice that carries them has kept me astray. Too soon to act on it, can we ever be? That all depends on what you're feeling from me. Let me show you all the way. Let me show you all the ways. Oh, let me show you all the ways.
Okay, so aside from needing to install the front and rear bumpers, the overall drive system and steering system is pretty much done, and the car is able to run again. So I just turn on the ESC. I've mounted it on the side there, so it makes it easy to turn on and on off and on with the body. So on the program card, item 1, which is the running mode, and currently it is on forward and reverse, being the crawler mode. So what I'm just going to do is just press the value twice. So that's 1 for forward and brake. That will be the mode that I'll have it on while I'm running it on the Iconic Cut, but because I'll be testing it at home, I'll have the reverse on for now. So I'll have forward, brake and reverse. So I just want to queue up item 2. So 2 are running on NIMS. I'll change that to 1 if I do run this thing on lipos. But overall, let's unplug that. I think that's... So we've got the steering. Actually, I should probably hoist the car onto something. So this will be a good opportunity to test out the platform I've 3D printed. I've got one for my M03, and I've also got another one here for my M07, but my dad put a belt in there for some reason. That belongs with Air Max over there, which is in need of some major TLC. So it was kind of shifting, but let's just test up the drive. Okay, that's weird. I'll try turning it off and on again. That's... Oh, that's much better. So... Well, that's weird. I changed it to, I changed it from crawler to... Hang on a minute. Okay, so I put the program card back in, and it turns out I didn't press the OK button. So, I've done that now, so we've got... So there we have it. Alright, so we have a functioning M-03L for the first time in God knows how long. It's been a very long time since I've had this thing working and running again. I'll probably, depending on how the weather is tomorrow, I'll probably take it out for a little test. Okay, so I've actually brought it into the same area that's just a short walk from my house. So, just turn the transmitter on, and so there's the steering, so moment of truth. Here we go, the first proper test of the M-03L after the restoration. Tyres are struggling to get some grip, but... Okay, so it works. So yeah, very happy with how it drives so far. I think it's the Volantes are struggling to get a bit of grip on the tarmac, but I think once it's on carpet, I think once they've been roughened up a bit and with the tyre additive on, it should be fine when actually racing out on a carpet track. So with that test done, let's go back to the body. Okay, so back to the body, and I put a bit of masking tape on because even though there should be some window sticker decals with the set that is meant for this, I wanted to spray it black just to be safe and also to add a little bit of a bright side. However, because I messed up on the holes a little bit, I've decided not to, and I don't have any. I swear I had some black paint kicking about, but I can't think where it's gone, and Tamiya to be precise. So I've got some silver, so I'm being a bit adventurous. So here we go. And let's see if I can actually get some out, because okay, it's a mist. Okay, so there is plenty of paint left in there, but I can't get any of it out. Oh boy. So there was a bit I did film after that where I actually had some Tamiya Brilliant Blue spray paint kicking about. Unfortunately the camera died while I filmed that, and because of the battery that I was using the battery from it wasn't an official Canon battery, let's just put it at that. So that died and it failed to save the video. But what I do have, even though I didn't catch the spraying on camera, look at that. So and actually I'll just get the old one. So just for comparison, it's practically the same colour scheme. Only this is just a regular Cooper and this is the Cooper S. But we're getting very near to replicating how the M-03L used to look when it was brand new. Absolutely amazed with this. So, there are some bits, however, that I ran out, and you can probably see where the paint hasn't quite filled in. Now, I did actually go over to AD at Racecraft last year. I paid a visit to his shop. Unfortunately, he didn't have Brilliant Blue in stock, so I went with what I thought was the nearest colour. Actually, it kind of is, thinking about it. So I went with Metallic Blue. So I'm going to be adding a coat of this and filling in what the Brilliant Blue missed. So this is either going to look really stupid or a happy artistic accident. So I'm not even going to film this because I am editing this video while I'm filming it, but I have no idea what the runtime is. So to shorten the runtime, I'm not going to film this process because I think you get the idea of how spray painting works. So let's cut to the aftermath. But you can see that.
Are you going to put the door mirrors on it or not?
Not those ones.
What's that on there? Is that...
They do look alike.
You got no transfers out. You've got no grills or stripes or...
No, I have to order the decals separately.
Are you going to put them on?
Yes.
I think you've got to, haven't you? Your lights at the back. Well...
So I actually filmed that quite a while ago. In terms of how long ago I filmed that, I lost count. But nonetheless, time for the big reveal. Here it is! It is finally in racing condition, back at it again. So, yes, it doesn't look exactly like how it did back in the day, but it is very, very close to how it did look when it used to race. But let's just give a good view all around. That's not quite focusing. Body clips I put on were supposed to be like a sort of royal blue, but in the photos they were a different shade of blue to the ones I actually bought, but oh well. But also the stickers that came with this Camtech body, as you can probably make out, yeah, they're not really quite accurate, and they fit really funny, and it really shows just there. But now that this thing is done, let's get a few beauty shots. Okay, so that was as good as I'm going to get, but I am so happy to have this thing back in racing condition again. And to think, actually I'll probably hold it that way because I got to check through the mirror. So to think that this was what it looks like when I dug it out of a shed, and now look at it, it does not even look 20 years old. And even the, I've mentioned about the muck-off a few times throughout the duration of this video, but muck-off has done so much wonders because it's got so much grime and dirt from when it was stuck in the bottom of a shed, and I'm really happy to have this thing in racing condition for the first time. So with that being said, let's take it outside and give it for a test drive. I probably butchered that sentence, I didn't really say it properly. Anyway, sorry?
You Mr. Bean?
No, I'm not Mr. Bean.
Were you?
I'm not. Why are you asking?
How fast is it again?
I haven't measured that yet. I think your friend's waiting for you.
You making a video?
Maybe. Christ. Whew, okay, so I brought the M-03L to a industrial area that is just a short walk from my house. So I've got it right here, got my trusty GT3B at the ready. I'm going to try and do this thing with one hand, and I'm going to be gentle on the throttle because the Volantes tend not to have the best of grips if there's a car coming. I'll just wait for that to go past. Okay, so it looks to be all clear, so here we go. Okay, I made a mistake of adjusting the trims. Hang on a minute. There they go again. Okay, so I might need to do a little bit of adjustments on the trims, then my OCD levels are kicking in massively at this point. But here I go, I'm going to send this at full power for the first time. Well, I say for the first time, I kind of did it off camera and it rolled, so this could be very interesting. Here we go. Wow, okay, so that's on a NIM, so that's the Core RC 15 ton doing its magic. We'll see how it does around corners. Okay, and that's even with the glue that I've applied on the Volante, so that could be a problem. Mind you, there's no additive I've put onto the tyres, because the additive that I've got is carpets. But I need some separate stuff for asphalt, so I might have to be gentle in the meantime. So there are maybe a couple of issues I need to take care of. I wasn't expecting it to roll, and one thing clear again, yes, I have put glue on the rims, between the rim and the tyres, on both sides, on each and every one. So yeah, but other than that, I'm actually really happy with how this thing drives so far. So with that being said, let's go back to the garage to wrap up the video. Actually, the thing I'm discovering while walking this back is I seem to have it in a crawler mode, because if I go forward and brake, it brakes. However, if I go forward and let go of the throttle, yeah, it appears to be in brake. So I'll have to change some settings on the speed controller when I get back. I'll have to look through on the program card. But until then, let's go back. And it's got its first scratch of many, but well, it didn't come out quite the way I would have wanted it to. Mainly, I made a few errors with this body, but oh well, I'll definitely get another one for backup just to be safe. But other than that, very happy with how this thing drives so far. Did have to make a few corrections to the steering and turn the dual rate down because it was getting jammed when it reversed. However, out on the track that wouldn't have been an issue because I would have the reverse on the ESC turned off anyway. But yes, apart from the settings, I need to change all the speed controllers to take care of the crawler braking. Yeah, I'm really happy with the way it feels so good. It's definitely the fastest it's gone in well over a decade, probably well over 15 years. I mean, I can't even remember the last time I ran this thing, but for a 20-year-old chassis, 20-year-old car, it runs amazing. And there are a few upgrades and stuff that I will be putting in between there. For example, up here on the servo mounting area, there's a carbon fibre plate that I can get, which I will be putting that on there definitely. The other thing I do need to sort out as well is I really want to put foam bumpers to replace these plastic ones. In terms of how to mount them, I was going to consider designing my own, but I think per Iconic Cup rules they have to be commercially available parts. So if I did design my own and 3D printed it, then that could potentially be against Iconic Cup rules, so I'm not going to do that, and I'm going to have to look for something commercially. The barrel rolling problem, I thought that would have been taken care of with the with super gluing the rims on the tyre, with adding glue on the tyres basically, and I accidentally turned that on. Other than that, somebody will definitely have an answer to that in the comments. I'm wondering if the profile will have anything to do with it, but there's definitely some way around it. But I'm going to be very careful out on the track. I don't know how else to wrap around this video because it's gone quite over the length that I was expecting. I think it's, what, just over 45 minutes? So with all that being said, that was my journey restoring a 20-year-old Tamiya M-03L, and definitely going to be racing this thing at Iconic Cup when I can. With that being said, thank you so much for watching this video, and until whatever I post next on this channel, see you then.